Well, guys, I'm going to give you a little bit of a thing, a little bit of my knowledge to the best knowledge I've got of a alcohol stove. A lot of people hate them. Some people love them. I'm doing some work on it. So here's what it looks like underneath. It's basically two bowls. It's got a tank, a couple of screw knobs, and I'll tell you what I've been having problems with is on this one, I'm getting leakage, and it took me forever to figure it out, but I've got it figured out finally. Here's the little burner. I took it all apart. Let me get this back on. I took this all apart, and what I was finding is it was just spinning and I was getting leakage under here. And I get a little bit from that one, but not much. But now I've got it figured out after I took this out and looked it all over. Basically what is going on is this has to be tightened up. This nut has to be tightened up in conjunction. So I'm going to tighten both of those up, put it back together, and see if we get no leaks, because this burner was working amazingly. This one was leaking, and somebody had underneath here, there's a little the little pinhole which shoots the alcohol up and then vaporizes, and that makes it burn. Well, somebody had put a little pin in the thing to just plug it. Now they probably didn't understand what was wrong with it either, but I think I've got it figured out. So I'm going to put this thing back together, and we'll see what we've got. What I did also is I actually made a little rubber gasket for this, which I don't think it probably needs, but it may have came with one, I don't know. But it ain't gonna hurt to put one on there and snug it down, and a little rubber gasket, and if it wears it out, it wears it out, but we're gonna see if we get everything working. So I'm gonna get back to this and see what we come up with, and we'll show you what we've got. Well, guys, I figured I would tell you, have you ever used an alcohol stove? And this is it's a Princess. They used to put these in boats back in the 70s and 80s. They were pretty much commonplace, and they were done by this Princess company that put these things out. Now, to get a new one of these, it's about 300 bucks. This one's in really good shape. I've been doing some work on it, been kind of fixing it up a little bit, cleaning everything. I had to take this one, the right sized burner all apart, clean it, everything. This one's been working pretty good, but the reason these were so great is they couldn't explode. Basically, you're going to use denatured alcohol. The stuff is pretty reasonably cheap, and the key was, when you were cruising, is you could get denatured alcohol almost in anywhere, any third world country. Or you could also just get distilled liquor, 180 proof distilled liquor, and you could put it in here and it would work. But denatured alcohol is the best. It's not super cheap, but it's not bad. You know, I think a gallon now is like 15 bucks, but it goes forever. It can, it lasts forever. And, so the big thing was that they couldn't explode. The fumes were nothing. There was no fumes. They burned really clean. They just had a lot of good advantages. Now, a lot of people have gone to, there's the filler cap in the middle. And what a lot of people have done is they've gone to propane. And don't get me wrong, propane is fine. But if you have a leak, propane is heavier than oxygen, so it settles in the bottom of the boat and can explode. But everybody's gone to that. A lot of people now with solar and everything's gone on to the induction cooking, electric, cook range or whatever, because they can produce enough solar and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, any of those are great, but this thing works so well, and I really like it. But it does have a little bit of drawback. It can be a little bit of a pain in the butt, because it takes a little bit more time than your average stove. get this open, you kind of have to have a little pop top there to get that. So anyway, basically the rules of it is a little funnel. You're going to end up, I've already filled it, so I'm not going to get too crazy. I'm going to put a little bit in here about what I've used in the past 3-4 days. But you basically fill it 3/4 of the way full. Set your denatured out of the way. I keep checking my thing here, just my camera here, to make sure it's videoing. Now, like I said, these aren't popular in the sailboats as much now, or power boats. So you put that on, put it tight. Basically, you run your pump here about 20 to 25 pumps here to get some, and that's why you only want it 3/4 of the way full, because it gives a little air in there, you know, a little air gap, so you can produce a little bit of it's kind of like pumping up a Coleman stove. You got 2 burners. We're only going to light the one. Yeah, so how this basically works, like I say, you fill, and then we're going to get some, pump this up basically like a Coleman stove. And then that's probably going to be plenty, I think, efficient. Then you're going to turn the knob, which is going to release the fuel, which you can start to see it. We'll get a little bit. Yeah, it's starting to burn a little bit. Again, it's alcohol burns so clean, it's hard to see. You can see it now a little bit, but we're going to basically heat this up is what we're going to do. And this is what most people don't like about the alcohol stoves, because this is what goes on. Now, once it gets going like this, you go ahead and turn that right off. And this is what people don't like about them, is this flame up. But it's, you know, what you're doing is you're basically heating the element. And you can also use a paste and put that under there, which will heat that also. But this is what it is. This is what you do. I mean, you let this go, and it's about a minute and a half. And it's basically heating this element up, so it's getting it ready to atomize or whatever the word is, but basically vaporize or atomize or whatever you want to call it. But this runs for about a minute and a half, maybe minute, even maybe just a minute. But you basically got to heat this whole element up. So what it does is when you open this valve back up, because it's off now, when you open the valve back up, it's going to light and it's going to burn efficiently. And this is what most people don't like about them. But it's that, you know, where propane, it's instant, turn it on, bang, you got the thing. But, you know, these things are amazing. These things have been around forever. I mean, there used to be the Civet stove. I had an old Civet stove, which was all brass, camping stove, and I did a couple of backpacking trips with that. I went to Pictured Rocks, and I went to Cumberland Island with it, and you know, they work great. I mean, they're really an amazing, but you know, again, it takes a little bit to get it going. So as you can see, it's starting to burn down. It's been about a minute and a half. We're going to turn this on, and there it is. And that's exactly how it works. So it's about a minute and a half, and then you have flame, and you can cook on this. And you know, we'll pump it up a little bit more. I did go get some more denatured alcohol, but they just, I mean, they work so great. They're just almost you know, they're like a little miracle thing. I mean, they're just great. Again, you can turn it off. turn it back on, and boom, there you go. I mean, so, you know, you can cook dinner on these things, and they work great. And I got this one working just as well now. I mean, that's a beautiful blue flame. You can't beat that. That's working, that's working fantastic. So anyway, that's the alcohol stove. So I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to release my pressure here, just because there's no sense letting the pressure build in there. But anyway, I'll let this cool down, and then I'll put the cutting board back on there. But, you know, they're just amazing little stoves. I mean, you know, you may as well use them. They're almost indestructible.